Is Jets at Noon with Cameron Poitras and Jim Toth on 680 CJOB.
You've got to learn from it, and we got to get up. We've got the biggest game of the year on Thursday night. Great test for us, and we're still alive in that chase for them, which is what we wanted to make sure happened going into Thursday, and we're still right there. So, it's going to be a great test of our character to see how we respond.
That was head coach Pete DeBoer of the Dallas Stars. Jets at Noon brought to you by Wash Method Car Wash, 690 St. Anne's Road. We'll get into that game in just a second. VIP text on the text line. Win a VIP car wash from our good friends at Wash Method, 204-780-6868. We'll announce the winner later in the program, which is coming to you live from the Boston Pizza Studio for gourmet pizza and pasta. I'll bring the team to Boston Pizza. Boston Pizza treated us to lunch here at the radio station, which was fantastic. They had the new Double Trouble Nachos, the new playoff menu. For the whiteout here in Winnipeg, they have the Wing Flight, the Atomic Hot Streaker. I like the name, by the way, Hot Streaker. And believe me, Braden Owasco, the producer here, he got hit hard by those. The triple pep, the triple pep the triple pep pizza, no mushroom.
No mushroom.
You like that one, are you, Jim? That was a good one.
I'll be honest with you. If you're gonna stay tuned to after the show at the Jim Toth Show about 1:20, I might have a nap. I might fall asleep. I ate so much pizza. It was so good. I couldn't stop myself. It's so good. Once it hits your lips, it's so good, Cam.
So, this is all about the new playoff menu, which is going to be coming very, very soon.
Did they send schooners? I didn't see one.
They did, but it didn't make it to you.
Oh.
So those guys...
Forche again, I bet.
Yeah. Yeah, and the
Forche's seen a couple things and had a couple schooners. I'll tell you that about his life.
The playoff menu. The playoff menu starts on Tuesday. So big thank you to Boston Pizza
Thanks very much
for coming through, and Andrew and the boys down there, and the girls and the gals. Jim, I didn't watch the Dallas Canucks game, and we're going to get into it. We have some updates from Jets practice today, some injury updates on Ehlers and Pionk, lineup, all that kind of stuff. We'll discuss that as the show goes on very, very shortly here, but we got to lead off with the big story. Dallas and their epic collapse against the Canucks. If you don't know what happened, the Dallas Stars scored an empty netter. They went up 5-2. Over the final minute of regulation, the Canucks scored 3 goals. Yes, you heard that right. 3 goals to force overtime, and then they won it in overtime.
In less than a minute.
The first time, according to the Canucks, there's been people trying to verify this. According to the Canucks, this is the first time this has ever happened. No team has ever had this epic of a collapse.
Now listen to me for a minute and hear me later.
Okay.
Listen to me now, hear me later.
Listen to me. Listen to what I mean, not what I say.
Carolina scored 3 goals on the Jets to tie it and force overtime in a game, but those were empty net goals. They had pulled their goalie.
Mm-hmm.
I think all 3 of these had a goalie in net. It was 5-2. They put Casey DeSmith back in, and they got a goal.
Yeah.
And then they went and got another goal. And then with about 4 seconds left, because there was 4 seconds left, every Dallas Star, including the goalie Casey DeSmith, was looking at the shooter, and he turned and passed it into the middle, right in front of the net, with 4 Stars standing there thinking the shot was coming, not the pass. And they tied the game. And I thought, so I was watching. I had the score up. I was doing some work, and I had the score up.
Mm-hmm.
And once it got to 4-2, I'm like, I'm going to go watch Vancouver pull the goalie and see what happens. They go down 5-2. So I'm like, I'll watch the last minute. And I was like, they're not going to get a 5th one. And they got a 5th one. And I'm like, how does Dallas respond to this? Well, how they responded was Mikko Rantanen took a slashing penalty in the overtime. And Vancouver didn't score. And I'm like, that's very Vancouver-ish this year. And then they score.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, there are points gained and there are points lost. And that's a point lost in my mind for the Dallas Stars.
Well, there's no way you can describe it as anything other than that.
You got to try and spin it, though, as we got a point. We can't let that happen again.
The odds of the Stars,
you can't spin it.
The odds of the Stars winning that game was like 99.98% leading into that moment. That's the fraction of how bad the collapse was. 0.02% was the odds that the Canucks were going to pull out a win. Like I said, never happened before.
And Cam, wasn't like, sorry to interrupt. There wasn't like deflections off 3 knees and in the net. These were executed plays the Vancouver Canucks ran on the Dallas Stars that Piers Suter was wide open twice right down the middle.
It was atrocious defense by the Dallas Stars. Atrocious.
Like, I was expecting one to hit 3 skates and then a guy's butt and go in.
No.
None of them were. They
No,
were well
clean.
executed. They should use those plays in the first period.
They were clean goals. And I was following the score on my phone, with the little guy at home. If the Jets aren't playing, I'm playing dad. So I was following the score.
You didn't make him wait outside?
No. I should have next time. I was like, look, son, they came back.
I'm kind of working.
So
workspace.
When Dallas scored the empty netter, I said, 5-2, and I put it away. And then I woke up this morning on my phone. I got the notification, and it's like his historical, comeback for the Canucks. And I was like, what?
So this time of the year, I don't know why. Like, when I do a game score after every game on X, I just tweet out what, the highlights were of the game and where the record is and who's next. I don't usually do it at this time of the year. I pay attention, but I know everybody out in the world has a phone and the internet, right? So I don't know why I'm doing it. I literally put it out on X last night. You're probably not going to believe me, but so go watch the highlights. But the Canucks scored 3 goals with less than a minute to go, and then won in overtime. And now it's 4-point lead for the Jets going into a gigantic battle on Thursday night.
How does this affect the game tomorrow?
Well, if they were 2 points back, this would be, look.
Well,
this is a massive game.
From the Stars' perspective,
how
does this affect it? Because they just got humiliated.
It's do or die. It's do or die.
Yeah, I went to listen back to Jamie Benn and some of the other guys, Mikko Randa, and they spoke after the game. I went and listened to that audio. That was one of the quietest. I've listened to teams that have just come off losing championship games. That was one of the quietest locker rooms I've ever heard in my entire life.
He smashed his stick over the crossbar.
That was only after the first one.
And he does that a lot, actually, so that's not a big deal.
Yeah.
But so look, if they win that last night, even if they go to overtime, it's still terrible. But you got your 2 points, put it in the rear view. We win this game, we're tied with the Jets. Now they have to win it, don't they? Like, even if they say they win it in overtime and the Jets get a point. So now they're 3 points back with each team having 3 games left.
Here's the thing, too.
But if you were 2 points back and got a point, you'd be one. Like, to me, it takes a monstrous game that already was, and it doesn't change anything for the Jets. You're trying to distance yourself from Dallas. But for Dallas, they are 0-1-2 in their last 3 games. And the fashion in which they are is third periods. They've blown the third period.
The Canucks did the Jets an even deeper favor than just the point. They stopped Dallas from grabbing a regulation win. The first tiebreaker is RW's, regulation wins. So by handing them that loss in overtime, they took that regulation win, which they should have grabbed. Then they would have been tied with the Jets. The Jets have 42. Dallas is 41. So even if Dallas goes and wins in regulation, they go 2 points up, the Jets still hold the tiebreaker against the Stars, each team with 3 games left. So the Jets still have the edge.
Yes.
So it's even deeper than robbing, highway robbing. I don't know, like what other, add descriptive word here, how bad the Dallas Stars collapse was.
So to me, nothing changes for the Jets. Whether you're 2 points up or 4 points up, you have to win this game and control your own destiny. Mm-hmm. Take care of your own business. Don't leave it to chance. All those proverbial cliches.
Yeah.
This changes everything for the Stars because of the fashion in which they lost it. Say Vancouver rolls in there.
Yeah.
They started Casey DeSmith. Say he has a bad game. They don't want to put Ottinger in. They want to rest him. And they lose 4-2 with an empty net goal, 5-2. But the fashion in which they lost this, and Pete DeBoer is right, it could go either way. It could be a massive kick in the butt and wake-up call for the Stars for tomorrow night, or it could be like if they go down 2-0 to the Jets, here we go again. But to me, they have to win this game tomorrow. If they go down 6 points or 3 points, And to me, I'm already, the Jets and the fans and the players, they can't do this at all. But I'm already looking at Dallas's next game and Winnipeg's next game. Either one of those win those games. You can't have the Jets cannot win that game tomorrow night, 3-2, go into Chicago and lay an egg. Because then you just reversed everything you accomplished.
Exactly. Call the Boston Pizza Jets at noon. Hotline open 24/7, 204-780-6800. Come in for lunch every weekday to Boston Pizza. Get a delicious main side and ice cold drink for only $15 only at BP. And this caller, who, if you're going to leave us a line on the Boston Pizza Jets at noon hotline, which is open 24/7, 204-780-6800, please leave your name so I don't have to just refer to you as caller one, but this caller did just that. I wanted to talk about that game last night.
Good morning, Cam and Jim.
Good morning.
Oh, my God, what a finish last night.
Heck of a finish.
Dallas.
Oh, yeah.
When I last saw it was 3-0 Dallas, I thought for sure they were going to win. But anyways, I know tomorrow night's game is going to be very big, and the Jets are going to be in tough because of what happened to Dallas in the last 3 games. But I know they're going to overcome it and get the win. I have a hot take for the playoffs. I think Calgary is going to just squeak in the 8th spot. The Jets will win the division. They'll play Calgary and defeat them. And in the finals, Western Finals, it's going to be Winnipeg and Edmonton, with Winnipeg going to the Stanley Cup. Go Jets, go. Have a great day, guys.
So thanks for the call. Calling the Boston Pizza Jets at noon hockey hotline, open 24/7, 204-780-6800. We're gonna get into that because there's a lot of playoff implications on the line tonight. St. Louis is playing, Minnesota's playing, Calgary's playing, the Rangers are playing, and we'll get into that before the show goes out about just what can really come together, playoff eliminations, playoff clinching, all that stuff we will discuss. Let's take a break. Let's come back. On the other side, Jets practice today. We have an update on Nikolai Ehlers. We have an update on Neil Pionk. Luke Schenn wasn't on the ice either. I'll tell you why when we come back.
Jets at noon with Cameron Poitras and Jim Toth on 680 CJOB.
Well, Rasmus Kupari was on at the practice today in a non-contact jersey for the Jets. Nikolai Ehlers didn't practice. Colin Miller back after dealing with an illness. Luke Schenn not on the ice either. Neil Pionk remains in a regular jersey. Here are the lines. Connor, Scheifele, Iafallo, Niederreiter, Nemesnikov, Perfetti, Tanev, Lowry, Appleton, Gustafsson, Barron, Anderson, Dolan. Defense, Morrissey, DeMello, Sandberg, Pionk, Stanley, and Fleury. Kupari, Heinola, and Miller, your extra skaters. And then Hellebuck, Comrie, and Chris Drieger. Power play, Scheifele, Morrissey, Connor, Iafallo, Perfetti. On the first unit, second unit, Nemesnikov, Pionk, Niederreiter, Appleton, and Lowry. Now, Luke Schenn is visiting his family in Nashville. He will meet the team in Dallas. Kelly Moore also sending me this text message. Nikolai Ehlers will be a game-time decision tomorrow. And Pionk is considered to return to the lineup, is being considered to return to lineup tomorrow night. So game-time decisions for Pionk and Ehlers against the Stars would be big, big ups if they can come back.
Yeah, I mean, if you can get healthy, and we're going to talk about this in our podcast later today, part of this show, so tune in for that. But a lot of teams getting some health back. But look, they're doing a pretty good run with Iafallo and Mason Appleton and no Velarde, no Pionk. But you get those two back, it just adds to the depth of this team and what they may or may not be able to accomplish. Longtime
NHL executive, this just coming down. Ray Shero has passed away at the age of 62. Got a text message from Dick. He says Ray Shero passed away. Greg Millen, who's in his late 60s, young. Dang. Yeah, Rick, the sentiments 100%. And prayers and love to the families. This is awful stuff.
Yeah, we only have seconds here, but we should have mentioned this earlier. Greg Millen was just a really pleasurable guy to be around. I didn't know him well at all other than to see him at the rink, but he always said hello and wanted to talk Jets, get some insight. Ray Shero I'd seen at the rink, but never said more than hello, but two real gentlemen and real losses in the hockey world.
We'll be right back. On the other side, some other talk about overwhelming news as well. Chaz Lucius announced his retirement. Daniel Fink, Moose Broadcast, is going to be joining us about the journey that Chaz Lucius is now going on as he tries to get healthy. All that still to come.
People can experience tendon, ligament tears, but also autonomic nervous system, so blood pressure, heart rate. It can affect the gut. Ear, nose and throat concerns. It can affect instability in the spine and neck, It really is from the head to the toe of where it can impact.
That was from the start earlier this morning with Macklin McGarry speaking to Professor Lara Bloom, who's the president and CEO of the Ehlers-Danlos Society, better known as EDS, which is the syndrome, and says the impacts of the disorder can vary. And this is what Chaz Lucius is dealing with. He's played 54 games with the Manitoba Moose over the last 3 years. Played a cup of coffee in the WHL, was incredible, the amount of production he was able to make with the Portland Winterhawks over a very short period of time, but was injured. And this has been the prevailing story about Chaz Lucius over the last, he can't stay healthy, he can't stay upright, well, what a bust, all this stuff. You have to feel for him.
I feel when I read the news yesterday, I felt awful for him.
We talked to him a couple times, Jim. We've had him on the show. Our next guest, Daniel Fink, has set those up a couple of times. And I remember speaking to him in the summer, and I asked him the question, and I said, "Well, how do you keep coming back? How do you keep all these injuries, all these struggles?" It didn't start when he was drafted by the Jets. It was his time with the Golden Gophers. It was his time coming up into the league. Where he had devastating injuries.
He fell to the Jets. I was helping cover the draft that night with 680 CGOB and Kelly Moore and crew. And I remember that once he had got out of the 10, I'm like, the Jets, if they will do this, because he's a Kyle Connor-esque, skilled talent player.
And I remember talking to him about, how do you keep your mind right? And he's like, he loved hockey. And that's what it was. That was his driving passion, was his love of hockey. And now he's been diagnosed with EDS and forced to retire based on the advice of doctors. And it's
the other part
terrible.
Of that interview we had with him was he's built like Kyle Connor too. He's not very thick.
Yeah.
He looked like an Adonis when he came back from camp after missing all that time.
Yeah.
And when he joined us, and I kind of was having a little bit of fun with him, but he's like, well, when you can't, he'll be, I'm sorry, but I don't know him that well. Mm-hmm. Our next guest does, but he'll be better from this, for this mental aspect of it, because he went to work on his body because he couldn't play hockey anymore for a while. Mm-hmm. So he did the other aspects that the Jets wanted him to do and was put on some weight and some muscle. And he did, as far as I know, and Daniel will know more, he did everything possible to be a healthy hockey player, and it just wasn't working for him.
Daniel Fink, Moose broadcaster, joins us now. Hey, Daniel, how are you?
Good, thanks. Yourselves, gentlemen.
Good,
Daniel.
Good. I mean, your first thoughts on the news that came down about Chaz Lucius?
Yeah, it's obviously always incredibly unfortunate when a young player's hockey career comes to an end earlier than it should have, and it happens more often than we would like to see. But obviously health is the most important thing in these situations. And for Chaz, obviously, through statements from himself and from the team, it seems like everybody's in a good spot regarding that. So obviously unfortunate. It was great to work with him over the past few seasons. It was amazing to see his dedication to the sport and fighting his way back from a few injuries. But all you can do is wish him the best. And, if he talked in his statement about wanting to be an advocate for some awareness about EDS and for those dealing with it. Well, I think he's off to a great start in that regard, because I think a lot of folks have learned a lot about that syndrome over the past 24 hours.
Oh, true. I mean, me too.
Yeah, and Daniel, I don't know too much about Chaz other than the few times I've interviewed him or seen him and just chatted with him maybe twice in my whole life. Is that fair to say that he'll come out of this? Like what kind of a person is he, and what has this been like for him to go through all this? And then nobody wants to be diagnosed with something like this, but then it kind of answers a few questions for him, I would assume.
Yeah, it's tough to speak to what guys are going to do in the future, and certainly Chaz is a guy who's shown a lot of dedication in his life to his craft, and so I'm sure he'll be successful whatever that next step will be. So it's obviously been, like I said, it's a pleasure to work with him over the past few seasons and get to know him, and he's just one of those people that I think will find success in whatever path he chooses to take.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a bad season for injuries for the Manitoba Moose. I mean, this obviously the most devastating, career-ending. I mean, it's not an injury, but it's a medical condition, a hereditary condition. But Nikita Chibrikov, what's the latest on him? We know his season is over, but we know he's working hard. Just maybe list out the injuries, because there might be some people coming back to as well sooner than later.
I mean, it's been a tough season that way. Obviously, you mentioned Nikita Chibrikov, and he's working hard to come back. I think the latest update, maybe last week from Coach Morrison, was that he was doing well, and we see him around the rink doing the work to get back and putting in that time. And then Parker Ford as well. I mean, despite not really being able to do a whole lot, he's still managing to get on the ice for quick skates, with it just being an arm issue. So the legs are still working fine, and it's tough to keep that guy away from the ice. So Parker Ford's been working his way back as well, trying to get back in action. But two guys that certainly were having promising seasons for the Manitoba Moose. Of course, with Parker getting that opportunity and scoring in his first NHL game, it was tough to all of a sudden a couple weeks later have his season kind of derailed. So it's been a tough year that way, and sometimes it's just kind of how it goes in hockey, and you have some bad luck throughout the lineup. But the Moose have certainly had their fair share of bad luck when it comes to those injuries. They've been able to get guys like Kevin Conley back in the lineup. Ashton Sotner's missed a little bit of time and is working his way back. So it's just kind of been one of those years health-wise, and I hope that everybody's just able to be ready to go for when the time comes.
Last two home games this weekend, 4 to go in the season. Iowa's here on Friday and Saturday, 7 and 6 o'clock. Puck drops. The thing about this season, Daniel, that sticks out to me is the stuff you can't control is all the injuries. I've never seen a season like this for a hockey team. And then B, just the overall record and the struggle of it. But I'm wondering how they go into these last two home games, because there's clearly pride in this team. Like, there's guys on PTOs that probably wouldn't even get a shot if it wasn't for this many injuries. And yet, the best team in the AHL comes to town, Laval. They lose 3-2 and 3-1. Chicago comes in. They lose 4-3 and 3-2. Like, they're still fighting, right? Like, I would think that's the positive out of this season that did not go the way anybody expected.
Yeah, and I think when you look at the last run of games, obviously they haven't gotten the final results that they've wanted, but they have been right in a lot of those games. I mean, that 3-2 loss to Laval, they were the better team, and there aren't many people who would argue with you in that fact, but Caden Primo has had Manitoba's number in the worst way over the past number of seasons. But when you're right in there against the top team in the league, and, I mean, they forced overtime against Chicago coming back from a deficit in that one, and it took a bit of a suspect penalty in the overtime period to kind of down them. And again, two penalties that left folks scratching their heads late in the game against Chicago again the next night. So they've shown a lot of fight. They've pulled off two third period comebacks their past two games. They've been right in games against some top teams, again, missing some pretty key pieces in their lineup. And it's provided opportunities to guys like a Winnipegger and Reese Vitelli, who's gotten some action throughout the season and has shown what he can do, picking up a few assists along the way. Unfortunately, Jamie Engelbert came in and was injured a few games into his stint with the Moose, but certainly showed a lot. Now you have guys on amateur tryouts like Liam Malmquist, who scored the tying goal against Chicago the last time out. Patrick Guzzo gets into his professional debut the other night and has a couple of good chances. And now Kieran Walton coming in to join the Moose on an amateur tryout as well. We'll see what his prospects are in the lineup here for this weekend. But you're right. Those opportunities are there. And then it just goes to show, when you're in the American Hockey League, there's not many guys who are on, well, there aren't any guys who are on 6-year contracts or anything like that. Everybody has something to play for every single night. And you can bet the Iowa Wild have a ton to play for as well, because they have managed to kind of stick around in that playoff hunt. They basically need to run the table to have a chance to get in, and they'll be trying to do just that. So these are meaningful games coming up this weekend for the Moose.
Yeah, sell us on the Friday-Saturday game, Daniel.
Yeah. So we got the 7 o'clock start on Friday against the Wild, and then 6 o'clock fan appreciation game, the annual time for us to give all the love back that we get throughout the season for the fans. So a whole bunch of crazy giveaways throughout that game. Always a lot of fun. That's a 6 o'clock start, and you can get your tickets at moosehockey.com/tickets. And if you can't make it downtown, of course, I'll have it for you on CJLB.com as well as AHL TV on Flow Hockey.
Daniel Fink, Moose broadcaster. Daniel, thanks so much. You take care. Okay.
Thanks. Have a great day, guys.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Daniel.
absolutely.
Enjoy the weekend.
Yeah, 204-780-6868, 204-780-6868. Shoot us a text. The VIP take on the text line is going to win a VIP car wash from our good friends at Wash Method Car Wash, 690 St. Anne's Road. We'll announce the winner later on in the program, which, of course, we are coming from you live at the Boston Pizza Studio for gourmet pizza and pasta. Bring the team to Boston Pizza. Let's take a break. Let's come back on the other side.
And give away some romance.
We're going to give away romance on the other side as well. Yeah, of course. We always do that. We're doing that every single day. Every single week,
single
every
day,
month.
every
We're giving away
single
romance.
day.
We're giving away love.
And that's hard to do. Keep romance.
No, not love. Not love. We can't promise love. We can't promise love, but we can promise a little bit of romance here and there.
We can't create love, but we can provide romance, which often leads to love. Or keeps love. No matter how you look at it.
I'll wear my, maybe I'll start wearing my Cupid costume.
Say love is tepid. Get some romance. Love gets hot again.
On the other side, tonight's NHL slate has a
Zero
lot
clue what I'm talking
on the line. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere here on Jets at noon. Who can clinch? Who can be eliminated? We'll get into all that after this.
At noon with Cameron Poitras and Jim Toth on 680 CJOB.
All right, let's give away the Wash Method Car Wash from 690 St. Anne's Road. The VIP text comes from a friend of the program, Andy. Andy says, Jets clinch first in the Central with win tomorrow in Dallas! Exclamation point. Congratulations, Andy. You're going to go to the most romantic place in Western Canada, Wash Method Car Wash, 690 St. Anne's Road. Here's what can happen. And
we'll send you to the romance. You let us know if you find love there.
So the Jets can't clinch first with a win.
No.
They can't. Now, I understand why some people would think, right? Because if the Jets win in regulation, they get 112 points, and Dallas is left with 106. Why they can't clinch is because the Jets right now have 42 regulation wins, which is the first tiebreaker. Dallas has 41 regulation wins. So if the Jets win in regulation or even in overtime and grab those 2 wins, the Jets could still lose all the rest of their games and register 0 points, and the Stars could win the last 3 games and pass the Jets and equal the Jets in points, right? And then get the regulation win tiebreaker. I'm sorry, this is just how it is. It sounds complicated, but it's because of the regulation wins that the Jets can't clinch tomorrow in Dallas. The Jets in the second tiebreaker after regulation wins, if regulation wins are tied by the end of this, it goes to regulation and overtime wins. The Jets are too far ahead there with 52 and 48. So it's going to come down to that. So that's why the Jets cannot clinch against Dallas tomorrow.
So the Jets and Dallas play tomorrow. Then the Jets go to Chicago for Saturday night. They fly home and have a Sunday night game at home against the Oilers. They have 2 days off and have the Anaheim Ducks.
That's right.
The Dallas Stars host the Jets tomorrow night. Then Saturday they host Utah. Monday they're in Detroit. Wednesday they're in Nashville.
Mm-hmm.
So you win tomorrow night.
Mm-hmm.
Then you go into Chicago. You should beat Chicago.
You just have to get 1 more point.
Probably be over.
If you win against Dallas tomorrow, you just need 1 more point and you clinch first.
So you win tomorrow, and then you get a point in Chicago. You clinch first.
That's right.
You don't win in regulation. You don't win in regulation in Chicago. There's other scenarios. But basically, that's the way it breaks down.
Yeah.
And the Jets, again, have Chicago Saturday, Edmonton back here on Sunday the 13th, and then Anaheim on Wednesday the 16th. The Stars host Utah on Saturday. They're in Detroit on Monday, and they wrap up their regular season in Nashville on Wednesday.
204-780. Thanks for that text message, Andy. Good conversation.
Thanks, Andy.
And great to be able to, kind of smooth that out. But there's plenty of playoff implications tonight. Toronto at Tampa Bay. Number 1 Leafs got 98 points. Tampa's got 2, or they're second place in the Atlantic. They have 96. Both have 39 regulation wins. So Tampa trying to track down the Leafs. Tampa was just hanging on to a playoff spot at one point this year. But they've stormed back, and now they're closing in. I mean, Tampa's still Tampa. And Toronto trying to get make sure that they hold on to home ice advantage. They would have clinched that in the first round last night, but they lost to the Panthers 3-1. So what do you think about that game coming up here, the Leafs in Tampa?
Well, the Leafs played last night, lost to Florida. So
that's right.
I think
so
Tampa's ready to go here. And I think they won their last game. on Monday, I think it was, Tampa Bay. So I kind of like Tampa in this one.
Mm-hmm.
I think Florida's still a little bit too banged up, but they control their own destiny, and on home ice, they should take this. But I'm going to say something right now, Cam. Who's your Hart Trophy leader right now? And feel free to include Connor Hellebuyck. And we can discuss this on Free For All Friday.
I really think it's Connor Hellebuyck. I've heard more and more talk about Connor Hellebuyck as this thing moves on.
So I think he's a finalist for the Hart. But when you have a team in front of you limiting it to 15 shots, when you have a team that goes into Vegas,
are you going to say Nikita Kucherov?
Yes. He has 115 points.
Why is he always under the radar?
He's 1 point behind Nathan MacKinnon right now. Why does nobody want to give a Hart Trophy again to Nikita Kucherov?
They don't like him.
He should have won last year.
Because people don't like him.
Because they don't like him.
That's
because
exactly
he goes
right.
to all-star games and drinks enough vodka to kill an old horse. I don't know how much vodka that takes. And don't give your horses vodka. But I'm sorry. I don't defend that. I don't defend his actions at the All-Star game or part of his attitude, or when they won the Stanley Cup and he said, "Come on, Montreal, come on. You won one game and you thought you were going to beat us." And all he rubs people the wrong way.
He disparaged Connor Hellebuyck too, because he said, "Oh, he won I don't even know who won the Vezina. It doesn't matter. Vasilevsky's the best." He's a jerk.
Tampa Bay does not smell the playoffs last year. They can't even see the playoffs last year without him.
Yeah.
Colorado's going to the playoffs with or without McKinnon.
I don't think he's even going to get a nod. I think it's going to be Leon Draisaitl, Nathan MacKinnon, and Connor Hellebuyck.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. He's not even going to get a win.
He's not even going to get a finalist.
No, he won't.
It's ridiculous.
People don't like him, and they really don't like him. But you're right, though. It shouldn't have a factor in it.
He has 11 more points than Leon Draisaitl. Now, given Draisaitl has missed some games recently, but he's about to have a 120-point season again.
Crickets.
Jake Gensel, Braden Point, Victor Hedman. Then it's Nick Paul. Should I name the other guys? Cirelli.
It's a good team.
He's not surrounded by guys named Cale Makar, Val Nichushkin, Natchez/Rantanen, Connor McDavid. I'm sorry.
Darnell Nurse.
Stuart Skinner.
Yeah,
I don't get it.
I'm with you. Elimination in the clinching scenarios. The Washington Capitals can clinch the top seed in the Eastern Conference with a Toronto regulation loss. The Devils can clinch a playoff berth with a Rangers loss versus Philadelphia or a Rangers shootout win. The Edmonton Oilers can clinch a playoff berth with an Edmonton win and a Calgary regulation loss to Anaheim. Edmonton's playing St. Louis. The Blues can clinch a playoff berth with a regulation win versus Edmonton and a Calgary regulation loss to Anaheim. The Utah Hockey Club will be eliminated from playoff contention if Minnesota wins against San Jose. And the Vancouver Canucks will be eliminated from playoff contention with St. Louis earning, with a point earned by St. Louis versus Edmonton and Minnesota winning against San Jose.
Bottom line, I like watching hockey right now.
Don't miss your chance to get on the show. Call the Boston Pizza Jets at noon. Hotline open 24/7, 204-780-6800. Coming for lunch every day to Boston Pizza. Get a delicious main side and ice cold drink for only $15 only at BP. Because of the lunch that BP sent in, I'm going to go have a nap.
You do that. I'm going to carry you through on the Jim Till Show.
We'll see you.
Hey, if you want to go to sleep, listen to my show.
See ya.